right, welcome our YouTube audience, our Twitter audience. It is the Mosley Show. Kevin Hoosier Hall is feverishly, there he is. He's working hard. He's mainly tracking the latest that his Indiana Hoosiers, who have they added? I mean, they've added just about everybody in the portal. Some teams a little slower to the portal. We did, Kevin, I must add, as we start with our daily portal, and we'll give some breaking news. Obviously, Baylor bringing in Caden Mingo. I have been talking to people associated with the program, certainly Dylan Mingo, who they are in on before he chose to go to UNC. Now, he's decommitted from UNC. Baylor's all over that, so don't think that they're not. But again, there's competition. Just because you got Big Brother doesn't mean you automatically get Dylan Mingo. Both very talented. Different players in some respect. In fact, yesterday, Kevin, I thought that was interesting, some of the things we had from Grace and Grunhafer on their differentiation, what differentiates, I don't really do well with that word, these two brothers, the Mingo brothers. Dylan may be a little bigger. I feel like Dylan certainly is the bigger recruit, although Caden, what he did in the Big Ten, and he certainly had his moments. There he is. There's Caden Mingo coming to Baylor now from Penn State. And you go, oh, Matt, Penn State. Well, guys, I mean, do we wake up every day and wondering what Hofstra's up to? Well, Texas Tech got the Hofstra kid, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, unbelievable addition. Kevin, okay, this is good and bad. The good is all these so-called sort of draft, I don't know if they're more like college basketball analytics types. They all sort of got together and all said, hey, Caden Mingo is one of my favorite guys. Well, I'm a Baylor guy. I love hearing that. It also, though, gets my kind of BS meter up a little bit because I'm like, wait, this feels kind of orchestrated. Like, why did all these people suddenly decide that they were huge all at the same time? We're huge Caden Mingo people. Okay, I'm a Caden Mingo guy. I mean, but I'm going to kind of wait to see him in a Baylor uniform and kind of see how he does. I'm excited about the prospect. I found it interesting yesterday, though, that Kev, it was almost like 5 different people from this kind of same world. And again, it's a world I enjoy. I enjoy reading analytics. But they all, it almost felt like orchestrated. They were like, okay, this is one of my favorite guys. Okay, I'm hoping he really is. And I think there's a chance Baylor did really, really well here. I'm looking at what else they're going to do. I'm sort of hearing, who they may talk to today in terms of, they're just, listen, it's like speed dating, okay? There are Zoom meetings happening today, all right? One of them is with a player I've kind of tracked for years. I'm going to hold off, though, on saying it. Maybe later in the program, maybe not. Because I've already kind of taken this name off the board a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just not jinx this thing. I'm just going to see what happens. And if there's a hit or if the exploration leads to something, I will tell you. Now, Kev, our portal audience, just so you know, yes, it hit last night or whenever, but we were the first ones telling you that Cruz, Kevin, remind me his last name, the Hofstra guard,
Cruz
Davis, the coveted guard out of Hofstra. I kind of like his length. I think this guy kind of a long point guard? Anyway, he's a scorer, man. He's like 19, 20 points a game. If Tech reaches in there and gets him a 20-point per game guy from Hofstra, let me tell you two things. One thing, he can play. Two things, He's getting paid, baby. He's getting paid. They got money and they got good instincts. That's a dangerous combination. Now you say, well, Matt, Tech hadn't done a whole lot. Yeah. Neither has Vandy, neither has Kansas, neither has LSU. Everybody's like, Will Wade's at LSU. Okay, so they're going to get all these players. Here comes LSU. All right, here we go. Kev, last I looked, LSU didn't have a single player on the roster. Oh, wait, who is that? Who else has that happened to? Oh, Baylor. Now, can you put a team together when you have an empty roster? Yes. Could it be good? Well, Baylor's it wasn't. Now, when I say empty roster, they did have Tunde coming in. I mean, we knew about Tunde, and then the hope is Tunde comes back. Because I try to take you guys inside, and sometimes people will be like, oh, Mosley, Baylor mouthpiece. All right, whatever. I mean, I guarantee you the coaches and people over there don't think that. They wish I'd be a little better mouthpiece if that's what I'm supposed to be. They wish sometimes I'd be, a little more positive in some of my analysis and some of my reporting, in fact. I don't know if anybody has annoyed Scott Drew more during this portal. I usually leave him alone. This portal, I think because last year went so poorly, the season, I have bugged him to no end. All right? Is that good, bad, whatever? I don't know. It's just the way I'm doing it. I am checking in with him on nearly a daily basis. What's going on? What about this guy? What about this guy? What about, and to Scott's ever-loving credit, he puts up with me. All right. So what I was getting at is Cruz Davis. Oh, there he is. I want to see Cruz. He is, man. He's long, lean. The only thing I've heard that could be a little bit of he's going to score. He's going to get in the lane. He's going to get in the paint. He's going to do a lot for the Red Raiders. The only thing I saw kind of negative was, like what's the Big 12 physicality going to do to him? Like going from Hofstra to playing against Kansas and Iowa State and Arizona and everybody's going to play against. What's that going to do to him physically? Is he up for that challenge? We'll see. I mean, I like a lot of what Tech has done in the portal in the past. This is their first big get. And Kevin, you say, well, Mosley, why are you so interested in, well, one, their head coach is a good friend of mine, former Baylor guy, former fraternity brother of mine. I don't think he'll be at our alumni fraternity event tomorrow. The other thing is we were the first people across the country to bring you this news yesterday. Of course, I was doing what I did today. I'm like, wait, Cruz, Kev, what's Cruz's name? Can you help me with Cruz's name? But we did hear about it and knew that was happening. And so when you watch this show, you will generally kind of, I don't know if we'll break the news, but along the way, you'll a lot of times hear things first from us. And that's why people from Baylor and a lot of the internal people and maybe even the administration at Baylor and maybe even President Livingstone on some days, they're checking in to see what the Mosley Show is saying. All right. And so we're proud of that. But we did tell you before anybody knew it, before even the Tech people had the story about Cruz Davis probably headed toward Texas Tech. I want to remind you some of these Baylor players that the Bears are in on. Dylan Mingo, Alan Graves. Alan is from, I think he's out west somewhere. Santa Clara. Anyway, somewhere out there. Sorry. Alan Graves. Also, Matt Abel, who Baylor did recruit when he was coming in out of high school. He would be coming over from NC State. Pretty nice little player. 9 or 10 points. He's not little. He's a big, tall guy. Graves is tall. 6'9", can shoot, can space. I mean, Baylor tried to get some of that. They thought they were getting that in Ratai. Okay, that was a disaster. It didn't work out. That's everybody's fault. All right? I mean, we can just say, well, Jason Smith, the GM, screwed that up. Okay, fine. But when he brought that name to the table, the guy who scored 17, 18 points a game and could shoot threes and, I don't know, seemed to be a pretty good player out of Oregon State. So every once in a while, we got to hold the player accountable and go, well, player showed up, player couldn't play. Same thing with Jeremy Roach at Duke. All right, we got Jeremy Roach. This is great. Starting Duke. He was a captain at Duke. Went to a Final Four at Duke. This is awesome. Here he comes. He's a Baylor Bear now. How did he do for the Bears? He did, I mean, nothing other than making that last second shot to beat who's at Louisville. Is that Louisville, St. John's? Might have been St. John's. Anyway, whoever that was in that tournament, that's about all he did. Got a concussion, didn't really feel like getting back, played a lot of golf while he was in town, and so the Bears missed. Bears whiffed 2 years in a row, major misses. Okay, this year, money's back up where it needs to be. I'm not saying we're going to money whip like Indiana or Illinois or Kevin, how do you say the state of Illinois?
Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear some people sometimes try to add they kind of try to add a little something at the end. And I've always thought the S was silent, but they'll kind of try to give you a little. They'll try to give you a little something extra at the end.
No. The older you get, the more you might call Missouri, but hold off on that. That you'll show your age.
It's fun to do that. It is kind of fun to do that.
Yeah.
But I think
Missouri and Hawaii. Keep that for your elderly years.
Yeah, we're not that far off. People like saying Mississippi. They like people from Oklahoma and anywhere really anywhere in the South. I think they kind of like not saying Mississippi. I think they kind of like saying Mississippi.
Right. You got to drop a syllable.
They're missing a syllable.
Yeah.
They're missing a syllable there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do they say Georgia? Georgia. We're from Georgia. We're from Georgia.
That's right.
Yep. But when Texans try to do that, we foul that up.
Yep.
I have an accent. I know it shocks people. I do have a bit of an accent. But over the years, some of it went away a little bit because I had a real kind of East Texas. My sister still has it. But people loved it. I don't want. She's probably listening. It's a great accent. I wouldn't want her to change. I kind of lost that, I think. But then people sometimes hear me and still think I have like a major accent. I think what I have is a fairly easy voice to imitate. Because when people do it, Kev, they do like a Jimmy Stewart kind of. There's a slow something that there's slow cadence that they get with me. It's fine. I've heard it on AI and all kinds of things. I also thought that was good yesterday, Grayson, when he started talking about Kev, since we're doing a lot of Baylor and portal and stuff right now, and these players came over in the portal. When he started talking about Baylor's defensive line, like that's the one area that the Clandy man, Joe Clanderman, I think he's got something there, man. I think he's got something. Jamal Weiss, the kid who I guess we're still waiting to see if he's eligible or not, from Indiana, Hosea Wheeler, the kid that came from South Carolina, Xavier Hardy, and then of course some of the returners like Tezino, we call him Tez. But I'm kind of liking what we're seeing from this Baylor D-line in spring ball. Now, we will have, coming up here in about 10 minutes or so, we'll do some Campus Confidential, and we will look at a lot of different things. Kev, I do think, though, let's do an NFL thing real quick. And if you could please play the breaking news sounder. This is a big NFL story. And in a roundabout way, it'll be a little bit related to the Cowboys because of the money and because of one of their former players. And you think about who they could possibly trade for and what they'd have to pay him and all that. So there's always some sort of Cowboys tie-in. By the way, extremely sad story about Garrett Anderson dying, the former All-Star MVP from the Angels. I love Garrett Anderson. I mean, Garrett Anderson was a really, really fine player. And I've almost, Kev, held off. It's almost like sometimes there's like too much pain out there, right? There's just too much. Like, I haven't even read to see what he died of. I just think it's very, very sad. Garrett Anderson of the Angels. All right, happier story. I mean, if you're happy for players making, unbelievable money. Now, interestingly, the Texans and Will Anderson did a 3-year deal. Used to, teams were getting fights over this. Like Dak only wanted a 3-year deal. Cowboys wanted him to sign a 4-year deal. Or maybe it was a 4-year deal, and the Cowboys wanted a 5-year deal. Used to be the 3-year deal was something teams would fight against. Maybe this is the NBA-ization of the NFL. Some of these contracts have started to sound more NBA-like. Some of these big one-year deals. Kevin, think about that. We were just looking at one of those in the offseason where somebody's like, yeah, let's do 1 year, like $35 million. We're like, whoa, what? I think it was like Donnell Collins. Didn't he have a fairly short deal? And it's just like, whoa, all right, or Donnell Hunter. What did I say? Anyway, yeah, there was one of those that I was like, man, this is really crazy on 1-year deals. Now, Will Anderson, 3 years, $150 million. This went down earlier today. In fact, right before we came on the show was when this news was dropping. It includes $134 million in guaranteed money. This is in Kevin's division. This is AFC Southland. And, boy, they hate the Texans. I think the Texans hate them more than the Colts hate the Texans, to be honest with you. Because, of course, like anything, the Colts have had more success over the years. The Texans are still kind of in that upstart mode, although they have a really good defense now. This surpasses Micah's deal. Parsons signed a 4-year, $188 million extension that included $120 million in fully guaranteed. This is $134 million guaranteed. I mean, when you sign one of those monster deals, somebody is going to surpass you. In broadcasting and sports writing, in other places in life, other professions, the market sometimes will change. I was making way more money in the year 2007, 2008, 2009 than I'm making right now. All right. In the world of the NFL, if you're really, truly good at something, it never stops. It's like, now they'll lay a bunch of people off. All right. The NFL Network no longer exists. Okay. All you people report to ESPN. Okay. NFL Films. We're going to lay all of you off. We'll see you later. Oh, man, is the NFL in trouble? Oh, I don't think so. I think they continue to have billions of dollars in revenue, all right? But that doesn't keep ESPN and others from laying people off. Kev, it can happen to anyone, But the Texans exercise, Kev, the 2007 fifth-year option for Anderson on April 8th. It was a precursor to this major extension. He had 12 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, and anchored the number 2 ranked scoring and total defense last season. And beyond the stats, his advanced stats, well, it's not really beyond the standard stats, show a difference maker in both the run and pass game. Among defenders with at least 150 run defensive snaps, he ranks 7th in run stop rate, 3rd in run stuffs, and second in pressures, according to Next Gen Stats. I think that last one was more, of a pass rushing stat. He was second in the Defensive Player of the Year voting behind Myles Garrett. So, it's a great defense. He is the best player. Oh yeah, here's that deal I was mentioning, Kev. Danielle Hunter signed a 1-year, $40 million deal. Dalton Schultz, the tight end, did a 1-year, $12.6 million. All right, and then they signed the highest paid kicker. Okay, they even value kickers. Something usually Kevin Hoosier Hall is leading the way. No man respects the kicker like he does. Fairbairn, highest paid at his position with a 2-year, $13 million contract extension. Kevin, since Anderson and Stroud arrived, everybody's been really tough on CJ Stroud. I understand why. Houston is 32-19 with 3 playoff wins and 2 AFC South titles. All right. I mean, hate on him all you want.
You also have to realize that's also when D'Amico Ryans showed up as the coach. So all three of those things happened at the same time. So to say which is the most contributive may be up in the air at this point.
How would I rank it? I would say D'Amico, Will, Stroud. Although, what are we trained to do? We're trained to value the quarterback above all. So I think we're being a little tough on him. I got to say, on a personal, indulgent baseball note, Kev, we'll get to Campus Confidential here in a second, and then obviously we got a lot of NFL in the 2, and then we're going to check in with one of our NFL draft gurus. Early next week, we'll do a bunch of Cowboys. I'll be getting like some Cowboys insiders. I have put in to have Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated for maybe Monday. I think I'll do Eric Edholm after the draft because he's so good at kind of looking back at what all happened. And he is the top draft guru for the NFL Network, NFL.com, I should say. Daniel Jeremiah would be NFL Network. And he is a longtime friend who I used to have him on all the time. I will say, once you start having to go through their handlers, that's generally when I kind of bow out. And it's probably fine. I probably should just go through the handler, and he would probably still do it. But there's something like almost it's almost kind of like a thing of principle. If somebody's been your friend for a long period of time, you don't feel like you should have to go through their handler. It's kind of like with Pete. Pete has a long-standing friendship relationship with Todd McShay. I think the minute Pete feels like he has to go through an intermediary to set up Todd McShay, he will stop having Todd McShay on. If I had to guess. He hasn't told me that, but that's kind of how I think, kind of how I feel. And, whatever. Other people can do it however they want. Kevin, here's my indulgent baseball moment. I'm very in on the Rangers right now. Kind of monitoring that rotation. But what I'm really monitoring is the Pirates, and their record's not great. They're losing some 1-run games. I love that they're fighting back though in games. Down 4-0, they don't quit. They come back. They may lose 7-6 or something like that. But they brought up the 19-year-old Connor Griffin to play shortstop. Now, the other day, they lost a game, and he was trying to turn 2, and he spiked the ball. And somehow when I say spiked it, he somehow got off balance and threw a ball into the dirt, and it allowed, on an error, basically throwing error, 3 runs to score. Not great. Now, the fun thing is, my Buccos, my Pirates, in addition to being a pretty decent hitting team, they are unbelievable right now on the mound. I mean, every member of the rotation is rolling. And Kev, who's the weak link right now when it comes to ERA with their starters? That's right. That would be who some regard as a top 3 pitcher in all of baseball. That would be Paul Skeens. Who has a 4.01 ERA. Not horrible, but not Skeens-like.
Right.
Everybody else in that rotation is just nails right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some of these guys, I follow, like Mitch Keller and some of those guys, but like Kevin, I don't know, Mlodzinski, like Mlodzinski or something. He comes in, they have an opener the other day. I don't know why. But Mlodzinski comes in and goes 6 innings. He comes in the 2nd inning. Other guy did fine, whoever the opener was. Mlodzinski goes 6. And it was just destroying people. Now, Tuesday night. Also,
they have a guy from right here in Robinson on the team. Braxton Ashcraft.
Oh.
Lives right around the corner from me.
He's been great too.
Yep.
Wow. Robinson. We also had that great player at University of Texas out of Robinson.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was he playing short or second? Anyway,
Robinson's a hotbed for baseball and softball. Softball won the state championship last year.
Now, let me say this, though. I agree totally with that. Tuesday night, you know where I'll be. Let's think about this. Draft is Thursday.
And
I'll be out at the in North Lake. I mean, Stephanie has me out there in the Metroplex, representing, doing what I do. Wow. I mean, that's going to be cool. That place is called the Argyle Open. It's an interior inside golf place. Huge TVs, everything. We're going to have a draft party out there, and Pete and I are doing the live show 6 to 8. Now, Kev, I mean, I don't know. At one point, I was told that would be my requirement for the day. You and I would not be doing a 1 to 3. But then the more I realized that Stephanie from sales really runs everything, and so she just, she told me, "No, you are working." I don't know when this happened, Kevin, but apparently I think I report to her. I mean, it's an amazing thing that's happened. But he who brings in the most revenue has lots of power, or she who. Kevin, I do think at some point today, and I'm kidding, Stephanie does a great job. And I kind of do report to her, I feel like, at times. So I'm not totally kidding about that. Now, Kevin, we do need to, because this has a lot. And again, what we're stay away from, Kevin. As you know, you and I both have different backgrounds and different thoughts on, religious whatever. Okay, we're not getting into any of that, right? But at some point today, we do need to have we need to talk, and let's. I meant to tell you this, Kevin. And it's just gone viral. But the question that was asked of AZ Fudd from UConn about Paige Beckers. I brought this up the other day. I mean, like, and people like, it's not pertinent. It's personal. Totally get it. I would say on other teams, when a couple of the players are dating each other, it does get asked about. This just happens to be the 2 number 1 overall picks that are going to play in the same backcourt that announced on their own that they were dating within the past year. Like, I don't know how then it becomes like, this off. You can't ask about that. Oh, we can't ask about that. So a column has been written from my friend Kevin Sherrington. Now, Kevin, other people have said, oh my gosh, how could you? I got to say, some of the reaction to this out there, it's some of the most ridiculous, and it's people, some of them I like. But again, we're going to act like this isn't like a relevant, interesting thing. Now, AZ Fudd is a big time player, athlete, smart as a whip, beautiful young lady. Like, she's got it all. She's got everything going, right? Great player, the whole thing. But like, she's old enough, responsible enough, she's to answer that question. And you know what she could have said, Kev? She literally could have said, that's my personal life. I don't want to talk about it. People might not like that answer, but it's her answer. What they did is the PR person came in from the side and said, we're not going to talk about our players' personal lives, blah, blah, blah. All right. It's not. Yeah, Kev, I mean, like, they announced this on TikTok. They said, we are a couple. I can't remember who, if it was both of them on TikTok or whatever. But now they have drafted AZ Fudd. They're in the same backcourt, and people want to act like, oh, this is a highly inappropriate question to ask. Okay. All right. I mean, the other couples in the WNBA that are on the same team, one of them were on the wings last year. And both of them, by the way, played at Baylor. Baylor. Wait a second. Baylor is a conservative Christian school. Could they have played at Baylor? Yeah, okay. In addition to a lot of things, Baylor also represents, a cross section of our country. And I don't think, thank goodness, Baylor goes around these days, trying to check everybody's sexuality. What are you? I mean, like, come on. And
name me another sport, though, where you have to worry about a player holding out or asking for a trade so they can go play with their significant other on the same team.
Well, okay. Let's take the word significant other out of it for a second.
Okay.
And let's just say this has been around forever in locker rooms, like incredibly, and that's why the question can be relevant, because in a locker room, it's like, how do people relate? Well, for years, look at LeBron, what he did in Miami. Players have been trying to stack teams and bring people in that are close. Now, in a dating relationship, I'll give it to you. The WNBA seems to have the market cornered on this. Now, if you had other, I'm sure, Kevin, you and I don't follow professional softball, professional volleyball, some of these other things that are out there. I think we'd be crazy to think that, there aren't maybe some relationships in some of these other sports and everything. So you say, name me a sport. I probably could name you, 5 sports that are out there. Are they ones you and I are following or looking at as closely as like the WNBA? The answer is no. But yeah, it happens. But again, Kevin, it's not even about, okay, your point well taken, what you said there. But it's like, to me, it's like a PR 101 thing. She's totally, perfectly capable of answering that question. And no, it wasn't that's Kevin Sherrington for the Dallas Morning News. That's my longtime colleague and friend. He's the least TMZ guy ever. He's like a, guy pushing 70. He's got, three kids and it's just, and his wife, and he's like the least TMZ sort of guy ever, like, oh, I can't believe Some would ask, I can't believe somebody didn't. I can't believe it hadn't been asked more than it had. So again, Kevin, here's the deal. Here's what I don't really understand and since we've gone down this path all of a sudden. At the 2:00 hour, Kevin, we ought to come back to it. I want to do some Campus Confidential because it does deserve a visit. I just kind of think that, if you're going to make it a story, which they did on social media, they announced that they were an item. I remember it being kind of a thing. I don't remember really talking about it that much, but now in my fair burg, where I live, in my town, where the Dallas Wings now have the great Beckers and the great AZ Fudd, and they had announced within the past year that they were dating. Like, this thought that that's like some kind of like completely off, out of bounds to ask that question. I don't get it. Now, we could talk. Kevin, you may have a different thought on that. Let's do that at 2:00 hour, because I do think a lot of people are out there talking about this story. I find it interesting. I hope it just kind of subsides and we can focus on the basketball. It's not like I want to be talking about it. It's kind of like Kevin, somebody brought up, Michael Sam. He was the first openly gay player in the draft. He did not get drafted. It's like, was it because of that? Was it not? What would it pose problem? Issues in a locker room, all those things came up. Kevin, it seems like a distant memory now. It was a big dang story when it happened, because you were asking me about, does this ever come up in any kind of locker room? Well, no, it wasn't because of a relationship Michael was in on a team, but his sexual preference, him being gay became an enormous story. And if you'll recall, Jerry Jones, of all people, right? Because Jerry's like, well, Jerry's this. Jerry gets accused of this. And Jerry didn't do this. And Jerry, had the thing with a flag, all the things. Jerry brought him in. Undrafted player, Michael Sam. Now, again, different story. That's one player. And like in the NBA, for instance, a player came out not that long ago, but I think he was at the end of his career, right? And I know one of the Collins brothers was gay, but he didn't come out until after his career was basically over. There was a player in the NFL not that long ago, and I think he was with the Raiders. I don't think he's in the league now, but I believe he was a pass rusher, and that was a story. So again, let's not act like we don't discuss these things outside of the context of the WNBA. Oh, Matt, this is a place where maybe there are more same-sex relationships. So that's all you talk. Well, yeah, because that seems to happen more in that league than it does elsewhere. Has it ever happened in a male league, a relationship where the two players are in the league? It has. It has. I would say, for the longest time, I think just players would have been, and still the culture of football and everything would be, players would be highly, highly reluctant to address that or make that public. Whereas in the WNBA, I think they're more willing to. So anyway, interesting. It's been a big story. I urge people, and I don't think it's behind the paywall, to read the guy who asked the question. I urge you to read that column, because rather than just be, oh, I can't believe he asked that, I'm mad at him. Some of the reaction around here has just been borderline, like, it's weird to me. Some of it kind of like almost like I think some of their hearts are in the right place. I think they're in their minds, they're sort of taking up for women. And I just would urge you to read that column, because I think it's well done. It's thought provoking. And in fact, Kevin, if you haven't, because you're not like me, you probably don't subscribe to the morning news, my old, where I used to write, I'm going to send you the column, because I think you may disagree with it or whatever, but I think you'll find it illuminating, interesting, thought provoking. All right, there you go. There's some of the talk on that. And again, this would not have been such a huge thing if they literally would just let AZ Fudd, who's perfectly capable of answering that question, answer the question. Kev, let's do some Campus Confidential. Let's do it next.
The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years, $3. 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair, May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you get a call saying they're going to lock you in jail for missing jury duty unless you pay a fine, that's fake. Scammers use scare tactics to force you to act without thinking. Just hang up the phone.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
This year, I made a New Year's resolution. I want every business to own a new copier from CTWP. Call me, Leroy the Copier Dog. Let's get you a copier delivered today. CTWP, your local copier company.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975, with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Oh, we are back. And, Kev, every once in a while, it's just kind of interesting. I'll go, I'll reach out to a few people and go, hey, you want to be part of the Mosley Show? We have such great Central National Bank, our presenting sponsor, unbelievable. We do need to do a Schmaltz's trivia question. Nelson Rue came out the other day, longtime owner. Britt Tully is the new owner. He's a great guy, and they have just continued on with us. So we need to do our Schmaltz's trivia contest later in the program, and we can make that draft related. We could go portal. We could go a lot of different ways with that. But I'm just bowled over by how many people want to be associated with our show, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see, and that's what we do. We just bring everybody with us, and I got off the phone earlier today with a great friend of mine over at Southwest Sports Medicine in town, and part of Baylor Scott and White. It's one of the great places for sports medicine, really, not only in the state but in the country, and they want to be with us over here at Rogue. So all I can do, Kev, is just kind of keep bringing them in left and right, and we'll just kind of let it fall where it may. Kev, let's do something that we like to call, I like a loose show. Later in the show, we are going to let you hear from our friend. I want to say our friend in the car business. It sounds like an Alan Samuel spot. We're very appreciative, by the way, of Ted Teague and that whole crew. I mean, some of these deals they're doing on trucks, amazing. So Very, very appreciative of everybody who is a part of this thing. Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James. Kev, can you throw that up there real quick? Oh, I love it when you do that. Although somebody else comes with it. Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James, one of the great law firms in all of Central Texas and really the state of Texas. Huge judgments that they continue to bring in. And then way to go. I mean, I noticed Scott James's daughter, Ainsley, the other day, once again, the Syntex Soccer Player of the Year out there from Midway. The James family came out of Palestine, Texas. They had some really good soccer players, but I believe she may end up being the best that the family has ever produced. And that's a pretty awesome deal. So great connections there. Love having all of them with the show. And then, of course, Lake Waco Golf Club. I noticed we have a great sign out there now that has to do with Rogue Media. And in fact, I'll be in town tomorrow, and I'll probably be dropping by there. I'd like to get about 9 holes in if possible. Lake Waco Golf Club, beautiful pool, clubhouse, course is great. They got the executive 18-hole executive par 3 course. You just don't find that very often. And that makes for a real fun evening, with daylight savings time. So lots of good stuff to brag on, part of the Mosley Show. So, Kev, let's do something we call Campus Confidential.
All right, so this is PJ Fleck had some things to say, the Minnesota football coach, on what it's like to run a locker room in today's NIL world.
Row the boat. He's the old row the boat guy.
Right. I wanted to get your thoughts on what he had to say right here.
Can walk into my office at any moment, say, you know what? Bang, Garrett's making more money than me. Why? And I'll pull out a list of why that person makes that much money. So they can ask me why to anything, from the way we practice to what we pay them. They can always ask why. So everything in our program is fair. And I sit down and tell parents in this exact office, it's going to be fair. You walk into this program, you're not going to be the highest paid player on this team. I'm not going to overpay for freshmen. I'm not, because they haven't done anything at Minnesota yet. And if I did, that could ruin my locker room. So the locker room is so, so important. No matter if we're in the NIL world, the portal world, 1968, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what sport you're in. Can you take all of those young people, 17 to 22, making whatever they're making, and bring them all together and play elite football and be really good people to serve our community, be great husbands, great fathers, dads, grandfathers one day? Can you get them to think really big visions? But the connection in that locker room is really, really key, as we see along college football with some elite programs that might be underperforming and programs that maybe haven't performed in the past that have invested that are performing at a high level. So I think that fair word, it can go a lot of different ways. But within our program, we feel like we have a very fair, developmental, educational college football program.
All right. I think Matt Rule and PJ Fleck are among the best at out of season coaches. They're really good at saying a bunch of stuff, and trying to keep the alums excited and happy. And then of course the season starts oh, we're 6-6, we're 7-5, but they're very good. Rule is maybe the best. Rule is one of the great motivational speakers of his time. He just hasn't really won a ton yet at Nebraska, but great in the off season. I think all of that's good. I like for the most part what he's saying there. That's a good thing. If somebody comes up to him, okay, why is this guy making more money? Boom, 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 boom. And you know what? He's got to also be willing to go, if whoever approaches him is making a good point, hey, we could do this, Kevin, with what we do. We could say we're outperforming this other group out here. We got more downloads, whatever. We can all say these things. And if we can back it up and demonstrate here are the numbers, then maybe PJ Fleck goes, hey, we should reassess this. Now, something he said resonated with me. And it's Baylor needed to recognize this earlier than they did, but they have recognized it now. Baylor may have caught a break. Dave was needing to save himself with this portal. All right. What happened is on signing day, they had this really talented class, and like 3 or 4 of the top guys bailed on them at the last minute. And that's bad. That's not fun. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this has happened. It's happened to Baylor a little bit in the past. Let me tell you where it helped. They were giving those players too much money. Like the guys that haven't done a thing yet on campus, because they were 4-star and they were highly touted recruits. And Baylor wanted, I think, kind of the clout that comes with that, right? Look at Baylor. Look at what they're doing. Well, if those kids couldn't play this coming year and Baylor lost, they were all going to decommit or leave anyway in the portal, right? So it hurt to see those kids bail on Baylor, especially the local kids, right? There was somebody either from Lake Belton or Temple, and there was another kid who was maybe out at Conley or somewhere. These were local kids who bailed on Baylor. In the end, and not all of them did, London Smith is still a big-time Baylor Bear. There's some good local kids that are still what happened to that Carice? What's his name? Carice Boyd or something? Anyway, there's some people that stuck, all right? This ended up being an okay thing because those 3 players, Baylor probably had over $1 million tied up in them. And I don't know exactly what the number is. It may be well over $1 million, but all that went back into the portal till, right? They didn't have to write that check. Now, let me give you one more since we're really on a roll right now. These players now, the big-time recruits, you got to pay them to make a visit. You got to pay them. Like there's a kid that, had already committed to SMU that I know about, and I think they were bringing him. They wanted him to come down and take a visit to Austin. At that point, you're needing to spend somewhere around in the neighborhood of like $50,000 to $150,000 to get that kid to come take a visit. So, what? Really? Imagine that. That's the world we live in now. So I may be a little high on that, but at least 25 to 50 grand. Just write a check. Here you go. And guess who gets that check? You say, oh, the kid. All right. He'll go get some new shoes and some fun stuff. The family. All right. Mom, dad, whoever, uncle, give us that money. Give us that money and thank you very much. We got bills to pay. That's unfortunate, but let's just be honest about how that works. Do you think Rob Wright III has made a decision on his own at any point within the last 5 years of his basketball career? The answer is probably no. The only thing I can imagine him making a decision on is when he went to Kentucky and the money was fairly close to what it was at BYU. Maybe he had enough friends and liked his time at BYU enough where Rob said, you know what, I'd like to go back. But for the most part, his dad is making all the decisions. Now, some of these kids in the portal would kill to have like a father figure dad in their lives. Not everybody has that. But Rob's, again, from a dad standpoint, like how he loves him and all that kind of stuff, I hope it's a great relationship. But let me tell you this, from a Rob Wright getting to grow up and make his own decisions, it's not happening. That's not happening. Am I a little bitter at what he did to Baylor? Check. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I may not be totally fair to Rob Wright. If you want a sweet scoring guard who will not play defense, he is your man. All right, Kev, what else do you have, sir?
All right. Finish this off with, you brought up the portal. So what do you think of this list of the top portal transfers available at this point?
Can you? Okay. Is it Joppe or Diop? Joppe? I know that kid. Now that's an Arizona State kid. Mm-hmm. This is a fine list. could you? Where is that Alan Graves from? Because that's who Baylor's in on him. Is that Santa Clara? What is that?
Santa Clara, I think.
Okay. I was trying to think who I thought was the best shooting guard down there. It looks like NC State. He'll probably end up at LSU, I would think. Like at Baylor, for instance. Let me just that can kind of tell you where I am on these players. I would say if I were ranking them, I would say the best player on that list is she's a great list. That's a great list, Kev. Good job finding On3 in your social media. I would say Blackwell number 1, Juke Harris number 2. Now that shows you I do probably value guards more than some other positions, maybe too much sometimes. I say then Momo Momcilovic 3rd, and then it's a little bit of a how do you ever say Thiem or whatever, Mustafa. He and Jop are kind of the same player, except for Jop's a little more athletic. Jop can do a little more from an offensive standpoint. So I put Jop next, but I really like that kid out there from St. Mary's. I can't even make these logos out, so I'm just going by memory. I think that kid's from St. Mary's. Paulos Maraskas. I love that kid. Yeah, he's very good. So I think that's how I would do it. I'd go Blackwell 1, Juke 2, Momcilovic 3. I'd go Jop next 4, and then I'd come down to St. Mary's kid 5. Everybody else, I'm just kind of like, okay. I mean, it's just hard to say. A lot of it's not even about so much the player as whoever's bringing them in finding a great fit for them. Like maybe that kid that was so bad for Baylor, Ratai, maybe there's a team out there like the team he came from. That's the thing. That's the grass is always greener theory. Some of those kids are just having the time of their lives, scoring 20 a game, 17 a game, and then they go somewhere. Oh, I gotta go. UConn wants me. Oh my gosh. LSU wants me. Guess what, man? Some of them cannot get their rears off the bench. They can't. And then here I in the portal, Kev, I kind of like really respect like certain programs. I'm partial to FAU, but this morning they got like a 7-foot center who was at Colorado, and I don't know why the kid wasn't playing there. I mean, he was like 8 minutes a game. He was a former like borderline McDonald's All-American like nominee. 7-foot dude. His name, he goes by Taco, Tacko. I don't know. Like, why is a kid that good comes in as a freshman and can't get on the floor for Colorado? Well, it's either injury, coach, player attitude. I don't know. But now that he's going to FAU, I just know how that staff is. They'll build him up. They got Isaiah over there. They got their own 7-foot assistant coach to work with the bigs, and Isaiah Austin. And I think they'll be just fine. Although Isaiah still plays in like 3-on-3 leagues, those 3-on-3 professional leagues, and does a pretty good job on that. He was a good player at Baylor. That's an example though of a kid that you don't give up on, because he had some greatness with the Bears, had the Marfan syndrome and the horrible eye injury, had blind in one eye, heart condition that cut off his NBA career. But I will tell you, Kev, I think that kid was the one of the least respectful, hard to coach. You talk about trying Scott Drew's patience, was just not great to have around. And yet after 2 years became a better teammate and, and is now an assistant coach and worked in the NBA and kind of a beloved guy. So that's why you don't always give up on kids, is what I'm saying. There's a kid right now out there that has just worn out his welcome where he is. Just wore out his welcome. But he was a great high school player. And I keep thinking, man, could Baylor be the, his second chance? Could they do it? But you got to watch it. I told somebody today, Jerry Jones likes taking character risk or injury risk late in a draft, but he's got 50, two other guys in the locker room that can kind of absorb if this guy's got some character risk. If you bring a bad character kid into a team that has 15 guys in the locker room, it can wreck it. One guy can wreck it. So I go back and forth on that. I love second chances, but I don't like wrecking locker rooms. So that's kind of where I am on things. Kevin, good job. That was good. That's all we have for today. No, I'm kidding. We later in the program, we are going to play a little bit of our recent conversation. It was right after the combine with Eric Edom, and we're going and he's talking about, he's weighing in on the Baylor players in this draft. All right, this is what we call the deep cut, Mosley. We'll kind of go back and we'll take a peek at that. Man, what a day. And Kevin, I'll tell you what we'll do next. And send me, Kevin, during the break, if you don't mind, that little text or a little thing that I can put out, because we already have a bunch of people watching us on Twitter, but I want to put that back out, because I do think this Becker's FUD story is kind of a big one. And we're gonna delve back into that a little bit. We'll do that next.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's internxt.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
This year, I made a New Year's resolution. I want every business to own a new copier from CTWP. Call me, Leroy the Copier Dog. Let's get you a copier delivered today. CTWP, your local copier company.
The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years, $3, 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair, May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
All right, the Mosley Show. We are rolling on a Friday afternoon. We'll have more, some draft coverage coming up for you. We had the Texans and Will Anderson got that 3-year, $150 million deal done. We got more and more happening in the portal. Kev, everybody's now calling me, and I'm like, why am I getting all these calls? Well, I messed with on my Android, how my text messages come through, and it's messed everything up, and people's texts aren't coming through, blah, blah, blah. So I'll get it. I'll have to see about this, but whatever. This is the joys of being the only person in America with an Android, and it's a great way. It's a great deal. Yeah, Kev, I'll be the judge of what we
see.
Whenever I saw your text come through, yeah, I'm like, I'll be the judge.
I was having some issues texting,
Yes.
but my daughter has an Android, so I sent her a message and I was like, "Hey, did you get this?" And she was like, "Yeah, okay, all right, sounds good." So that way I knew it was not on my end.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it was on your end.
I just got your last text, and I'm a little bit. But interesting, whatever. All right,
just producing.
Yes, and you're doing a nice job of that. All right, I do want to and I meant to, in fact, I was going to put that out there. I don't know if you sent me that or not, Kat. See, I don't know what you're getting from me. I had asked you for something to tease this with. But yeah, this story that I was talking about earlier that was really, and it's been a huge story in the Metroplex, and it's become a big national story, is that AZ Fudd gets drafted by the Wings, and she and Paige Beckers, it's well documented within the last year that they were, at least at one point, in a relationship. They were dating. And, again, I know everybody feels all sorts of different, but let's just deal with the facts of the case. They were dating. And this happens across the WNBA. There are several other couples that have either been on the same team. Two of them were former Baylor players. Kevin, I don't know if did you grab the audio of the viral thing in question where AZ Fudd was being asked about this?
No.
This was,
I did not get it.
If you can grab that for me. And this was what was being discussed across the country last night. And then there's a column by Kevin Sherrington about this. The bottom line is, the question was asked of AZ Fudd, are you still, she's going to be in the same backcourt as Paige Beckers. Are you guys still dating? And, how have you talked to anybody in the WNBA about like how that would be, or sort of managing that, dating and playing on the same basketball team? Is it an interesting question? Is there public interest in what the answer might be? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. The question was asked, and we'll try to play this for you. And the PR person from the Wings says, well, I understand why you would ask that, but this is a personal thing, and we're not going to answer that. Well, PR 101, you just made it a bigger story because you wouldn't let the unbelievably talented, smart, everything AZ Fudd just answer the question. By the way, a fine answer in my book would have been, I'm not going to talk about that. That's personal life, and I would like to avoid that. Fine. But again, she's totally capable of answering that question. And this now is going to become a thing. And it's a national story today. That clip has been played over and over and over again. Now, you have some people who've come out and go, how dare that be? How dare you ask that? Well, what is this, TMZ or whatever? I think it's a question that probably was on a lot of people's minds. And again, within the past year, they put this out there themselves. Hey, we are dating. So it leads to a natural question of, okay, 2 number 1 picks, overall picks, same team, same backcourt. And again, I think some people would like us to believe, no, that's not a fair question. What? Really? And yes, in all sports, there's questions about locker room, how people are getting around. You say, Kevin brought up earlier, but Matt, it's not in some of these other sports, of course, because by the way, guess what? If it's happening in the NFL or the NBA, it's still not something that people bring up. Oh, yes, so-and-so and so-and-so are in a dating relationship. All right. It seems to be more comfortable bringing it up in the WNBA. And it's something that is discussed. some of the relationships. I remember, and one of them ended up in unfortunately, a domestic dispute years ago when Brittany Griner was dating someone on a WNBA team. All right. And of course, that became a big story at the time. So
I do have the clip. Would you like to see it?
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Kev. Let's play. Here is the first press conference that AZ Fudd was doing for UConn, so from UConn, and she is drafted by the Mavericks. And the voice you will hear is from longtime columnist from the Dallas Morning News, my old colleague, Kevin Sherrington. And then again, I would advise you to read Kevin's column on this very topic. All right. It's being shared around the country. Again, you may disagree with it. You may think that the question should not have been asked. That's fine. Differing, minds can, not everybody has to agree on this thing. But I want to play it and then react to it.
TikTok that y'all were a couple, and I'm wondering if that is still the case, and if so, if y'all have talked to any other couples in the league about how they negotiate that dynamic as pro teammates.
I understand why you have to ask that question, but we're going to respectfully decline from commenting on our players' personal lives. Go to the next question.
Okay. Now, interestingly, the woman who is their PR person, her name is Pam, and I don't know exactly how you say her last name. Flink, I think it's Flenke. Flank. Since this went out, there have been some opinions shared of this didn't need to be asked. This was completely, should have been just about the basketball. I guess you can argue that was about the basketball. It's the dynamic of their relationship. Have you reached out to other couples in the league? The Wings just had two players, both of whom were from Baylor, that had been in a dating relationship. I think they've since broken up. Nalissa Smith, who was one of the great all-time Baylor players, and then Dejanay Carrington, who was on a team that I believe Dejanay was on that team that they won a national title back in. Kim's last national title, I think she was on that team. She had transferred in. But, man, this thing has taken on a life of its own. And again,
I would
say
that this is a totally fair question. How many times in this show alone have we talked about the locker room and the dynamic of a locker room and how important that is, even more so in a smaller locker room like in basketball? And Kevin asked a very fair question that was a locker room question relating to basketball, relating to the sport of the WNBA, recognizing the fact that we've talked about that there is a precedent that has been set, that this has happened on multiple different WNBA teams. Has this been explored by them? I think it's a totally fair question, and I think, to your point, they made it an issue by not wanting to say anything. If they would have just let her answer the question and they would have prepared her for the question, maybe to answer it well and articulate, it would have become a non-issue. Instead, not answering it became a bigger issue than it ever could have been.
Well said, Kev. And I think too, some of the really strong reaction to this has almost been sort of gender-based. There's a male writer, and he's an old friend of mine, covers the Mavericks, writer, broadcaster, and seems to believe that Kevin was representing just men in general, that somehow men needed to know about this. Well, I don't think that ever crossed his mind that the audience that he was trying to get an answer, because again, as columnists, writers, we are a conduit to these teams. We're supposed to hold them accountable, but we are supposed to be, and I know a lot of times the media is looked on so poorly by people, and sometimes for good reason, but we're supposed to be the people out there asking the questions that the fans want to know the answers to. Now, there may be WNBA fans going, I don't care about that. I don't care about her relationship. I don't need the answer to that. That's fine. That's totally fine. There might be others who are like, that's interesting. I would like to know about what the locker room environment might be between, people that are dating. And again, it almost reminded me, I almost made a joke today on Twitter, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not worth it. But in college football years ago, Chris Sims had a rough moment in the Cotton Bowl in the Texas OU game. And he's up there answering questions, and Mac Brown is sitting there, and Mac Brown tries to jump in and start answering the questions for him. Kind of like, I'm going to take control of this thing. Well, it's a little bit like this. And I think the strange thing about the way the PR handled this for the Wings is that, again, these two unbelievably talented, smart, eloquent, great basketball players had chosen to release this to the world. What I mean, like, it'd be one thing if, like, oh man, this is kind of an open secret, or we haven't never talked about this, or oh my gosh, this is off the top. This is a secret thing that you can't ask about. Kev, they put it on TikTok and like had a big sort of announcement, and then that stories were written about that. Oh, great player from UConn dating the former great player from UConn. That's fine. That's fine. And and then again, you're always going to get people that then try to, get their religious spin in on this kind of thing. And even in one of my group texts, some of that kind of thing has come into play. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in, this is what I think Scripture says on this. No. Okay. We'll leave that. We'll leave that discussion for off air. And again, that's fine. I'm very respectful, as long as people are respectful in the way they talk about human beings. I can be respectful on people disagreeing on whatever on that front, but that's not what we're doing here. This is simply about basketball and about the fact that they in a sense opened up about this. And now, again, I don't know if she has a problem with this or not. Now, interestingly, Kevin, just a post note on this. Wings put out a little interview today, and it looks like it's somebody from WFAA doing the interview. And I can't remember her name, but she's very nice, and she does a good job. And it was couched as it was kind of talking about joining somebody you played with at UConn. And AZ was incredible on the answer. It was kind of like, I get a chance to play with my best friend. Okay. I mean, I guess that could have been the answer. We won't really know if the Wings are never going to let her answer that question. Then we'll never know. And then people will still try to ask it. And people will try to say, and then people are going to get with AZ Fudd and go, this is what will happen now. It'll be like, Good Morning America, or the Today Show, or The View, or somebody is going to have this conversation. And you say, well, good. It'll be like more on her terms. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I'm good with, she could handle this thing any way she wanted. But to Kevin's point was the best point. The Wings took that out of her hands. Her answer, I think it's a fine answer to say, I don't want to talk about my personal life today. Okay. Has that changed since they put that out on TikTok? Yeah. Is it okay to change your approach to that? Yes, absolutely. She can handle that however she wants. It's just she is a big enough personality, name, talent, whatever you want to call it, has a big enough platform to come to that decision on her own without somebody else making it for her. So bad PR.
This is also not the worst question by far that has been asked to a number one WNBA player pick. That question wasn't even about a same gender relation.
Oh, the one that the guy from Indianapolis asked, or what was the worst one? Are you saying?
Oh, that in my recent memory, that was the worst one, where he just totally fumbled over and tried to. Yeah, Greg Doyle. Yeah.
But his was also like some kind of creepy. Didn't he kind of almost? It was almost like he was hitting on Caitlin Clark in the question somehow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
got himself banned.
You'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt, except that we've done that how many times in that guy's career? And I know him. I've known him for years. Is he still a columnist for them?
Yes, unfortunately.
Get you someone who sticks with you like that.
Yeah. There are very few good Indianapolis media members who will do the hard thing, in my opinion. But
yeah, there have been good ones over the years. I think Mike Jones did a pretty good job back in the day covering the Colts. I think Chappell, whoever that is, has done a pretty good job over the years. So there's some fine. We won't let the Doyles of the world, or if you don't like Kravitz or whatever, we won't let them. Because you can't have it both ways. What's funny about it, you almost want, as a city, you like having columnists who people outside of your community know, but it's like then sometimes like you don't like it, right? Because they say things that embarrass you as a town.
You don't want them to be infamous.
In Dallas, we had Skip Bayless, who remains infamous all these years later. And the craziness, and again, he was a pompous rear end for years upon years, even back then. But I will say there was a time when Skip Bayless was an extremely talented columnist and writer. Unfortunately, he just kind of, he merged into that low-hanging fruit, no nuance, beat you over the top of the head. And by the end of his time here in Dallas or wherever he was starting weird rumors about Troy Aikman and just all stuff like that. All right, Kev, good stuff. We will delve back into there's some NFL draft stuff that I really want to do. We will do that next.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
And now back to the Mosley Show. Man, having some really interesting conversations today on a lot of different fronts. I tell you what we'll do, Kev, here at about, what do you say, 10 minutes or about 5 minutes? About 10 minutes. We will play some for you of the Eric Edholm from NFL Network and NFL.com. He, right after the combine, came on with us and had a lot to say about the Baylor draft players. Now, since then, we've been at the Pro Day. I've spent time with some of these players. That's all that stuff's going to be really interesting. One thing I'm trying to determine, and I'll get a hold of him this afternoon, hopefully. Josh Cameron was going to have a private workout. He's had this calf strain. There was a report yesterday from Ian Rappaport that Baylor's own Josh Cameron will be ready to go for the first rookie minicamp. He'll be a full go for that. That strain has kind of held him up in some of his workouts. He was going to do a private workout, and this will be interesting. Now, earlier today, Kev, I thought this was good. Over 20 NFL teams, including multiple GMs, speaking of wide receivers, were at Jordan Tyson's personal workout today. This is the Arizona State wide receiver who hadn't been able to work out. Everybody wants to see him. Everybody agrees that Carnell Tate is probably the first wide receiver to go off the board. But then in that next bunch of wide receivers, certainly Jordan Tyson could be in the mix. John Owning, draft expert, used to be at the Morning News, was at PFF, got laid off recently. He said something like, I wonder, talking about Jordan Tyson, if he's a, quote, wipeout option at 12 for Dallas. Now, I think what he's saying is if Cowboys can't trade out, don't trade up, and then all their defensive players are gone, do you take the big-time wide receiver? And then what does that say about George Pickens moving forward if you do something like that? Wow. Woo. Man, I find that to be very, very interesting. That note right there. Do I think the Cowboys are going to take Jordan Tyson at 12? I do not. I do not think that is going to happen. Kev, couple of notes on the portal. Oh, there he is. There's Jordan Tyson. A wipeout pick for the Cowboys at 12. I don't think so. The desperate need for defensive starters, and for two of them to come out of this first round, I think trumps any thought at taking Jordan Tyson. Do I think he could be an unbelievable wide receiver? I do. Do I love the best player available strategy? I do. But sometimes need does get in there, and the Cowboys definitely are in that spot. Now, Kevin.
So what if there's a decision between two injured players in Jordan Tyson and Jermod McCoy. Both coming off of a season of injury.
I think there's less worry about Tyson. I think his is just kind of messed with his off season here. Jermod missed a whole season, and that is a more concerning, although his pro day seemed to put up great numbers. I think he ran like a 4.38 or something like that. For the Cowboys, they would have more concern over McCoy than Tyson. That just comes from the conversations I'm having, basically. So, but that's a good question. Now, Kev, we've talked about Illinois and that basketball team. A couple of hours ago, Stojakovic announced, son of Peja, Andre Stojakovic, returning to Illinois. They now have, here's all who's returning: Stojakovic, David Merkovic, Tomislav Ivisic, Vonimir, the Big Z, Ivisic. The Big Z, by the way, I think used to play at Arkansas. Now the Ivisic brothers are on the same team. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, but I kind of have a memory of the Big Z at Arkansas. Jake Davis, Stefan Vox arriving from the portal, Quentin Coleman and Lucas Murillo coming in as freshmen. Kevin, there is your number one team in college basketball. Not Louisville.
Michigan?
It's not Michigan.
Defending national champions?
I know.
Bringing back their point guard?
I love them. But I would go with the Fighting Illini. That is a monstrous. That team right there is one of the scariest college teams I have ever witnessed. All right. By the way, 4 commitments today for BC. That was actually in the last 24 hours. 4 commitments, with Northwestern transfer J.B. Frankel rounding out the quartet. Okay. From Northeastern. I said Northwestern. He's from Northeastern. All right. That's Luke Murray, the old UConn assistant. This is his first team.
Do you think Bill's out there like trying to help him recruit?
Yeah.
I met the Dalai Lama one time.
He's not doing his Caddyshack.
No? You don't think so?
Character.
I think it'd be a great selling point.
Do you want to play this, or do you want to save it and keep doing what we're doing? What do you? I'll let you decide. What do you want to do?
Well,
you want to play some of it?
There is the NBA that's starting this weekend. We haven't talked about it all.
All right.
It's up to you. Where you want to go ahead?
Let's stay with what we're doing. And we will talk a little NBA to finish off the show today, because we got playoff series about to start. I just wanted to, one more time here, let's make sure Mr. Giovanni doesn't have anything. Lord knows we can't be going with this Tipton, who seems to have a lot of stuff, because Giovanni accuses him of ripoffs at all time. 2 hours ago, Samford transfer Dylan Faulkner. Now, you would think the Samford kids would go to A&M. That's where Buckyball came from. All right? But Dylan Faulkner has committed to Clemson. 6'9", average 17 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks per game this season. Whoa. Man, I love that kid. 6'9", out of Samford. Yes, please. Whoa. I mean, how good is that? My gosh. Okay. That's one, Kevin, that caught my eye. I think it's very obvious I've got Portal on the brain today. and I'm making sure we don't have any other big portal news to share. Kevin, will you show us that list one more time of the top 10 guys left? These guys really grabbed my attention. I may have put you right there. But while Kevin, there it is. Everybody's still on the board there. Where's that kid from? Oh, Terrence Hill Jr. from VCU. Now Baylor has its point guard now. Baylor has 3 guards. I'd like one more guard. I would like one more guard. What's interesting is it does look like the point guards got taken in a hurry. What do we see here? At least the way On3's ranking them, and I think Terrence Hill could play a little bit of point guard too. Now I think about the VCU kid. But we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 of the guards listed here are shooting guards. Now, Juke Harris is just a flat-out scorer at Wake Forest. Do I think Juke and Blackwell's just a flat-out scorer? Blackwell interests me. I think he's going to end up getting like huge money. Here's what happens now. Somebody's going to cherry pick either Blackwell or Juke and give them crazy money. Baylor did not want to do that. Baylor does not want to give one of these kids $5 million or really even $3 million. And when you talk about Juke, those guys I was just mentioning, there's about 5 guys on there that can command anywhere from $2 to $4 million. And it was kind of my top 5 on this list. Was the way to go on this. Now, Kevin, this is breaking. Give me some breaking news sounder, and this involves Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson just had a private workout. Wasn't that private? There were like 20 NFL teams who showed up there. Adam Schefter said there were 18 expected to be there. I think I read there were 20 teams. Per a source at Jordan Tyson's workout, he showed the twitch, explosiveness, and leaping ability we all saw in the fall. He showed he's healthy and still explosive, which is all he needed to do. The contingents there from Miami and the New York Giants included the GMs. Whoa. Okay. Miami and the New York Giants. That's Joe Schoen over at the Giants. Miami's new GM is, they go through so many. It's not coming to mind. But they were there. Okay, remember the Giants pick at 5. Seems a little rich for Tyson. Miami at 11. Why is that interesting? Well, who picks at 12? Oh, the Dallas Cowboys. Get you some Jordan Tyson there at 11. Do it. Now, here's what would happen if the Cowboys picked Jordan Tyson at 12. I think based on what we were led to believe, a lot of people would be in an uproar. There would be a certain segment of the fandom that would go crazy in terms of excitement over the willingness to take a big-time, high-ceiling wide receiver, which is what he is. Why will it not happen? You need defensive starters, and you're scared of injury risk. Now, anybody can get hurt. It's the NFL. All right, anybody can get hurt, but that's what you're scared of. Now, Kev, we do have this Friday night play-in game. Hornets into Magic. Oh, great. Oh, thank you. LaMelo and Knipple. By the way, everybody's talking about Luka or Knipple for Rookie of the Year. Knipple in that play-in game the other night did not show up. Again, that's not why you don't base it just on that game.
Not Luka.
Point.
Cooper and Knipple. You said Luka and Knipple.
Excuse me. Okay. I'm still. I have Luka on the brain. Cooper, Flag, and Knipple. It does now seem like Cooper's going to win it. It also, just a reminder, some of these players now, like Luka and Cade Cunningham, now are eligible for the postseason awards. I would like to see. I wish both guys, honestly, I'm trying to think who will get it over them. I'd love to see both first-team All-NBA. Now, the Joker, the great one from Denver, based on his analytics, his impact, his numbers, he could win this thing every year. Now, what happens is occasionally you go, well, wait a second, so-and-so, SGA has now gotten in the annual conversation. Luka went on that crazy run for like 2 weeks where it was 50, 60, 40. He was climbing right in that MVP conversation. Now, the truth is, you got to kind of knock at the door over and over and over. But Luka has been up there. Luka has finished in the top 3 of an MVP vote. I'm almost certain of that. Somebody else say, Mosley, no, he hasn't. Well, I think he has. Cunningham is relatively new to this. He's put up great numbers in the past, but he's now on a good Detroit team, and he is the best player on that team, and he has turned into a leader, and he has become a monster. What I would love is for both of these guys to be first-team All-NBA. Neither one of them is gonna be the MVP. I do think Luka is setting himself up to have an MVP season like next year. It's hard to do it when you have so much swirling around you, meaning the world of LeBron and all of that. Okay. As long as LeBron's hanging around, it kind of, I don't know if it helps or hurts or whatever, your MVP. But LeBron's about to find out. He's finally, and I don't know if Kobe ever got to this point. Kobe sadly was hurt late in his career, but the Lakers kept giving him the Kobe appreciation money at the end of his career there. It's like, we're going to give you this huge amount of money because of everything you've meant to this organization. Well, the truth is, LeBron has not been there long enough to get that treatment, although he's already getting some of that treatment. But LeBron, to finish out his career, is about to have to do the either mid-level exception or a minimum or something to try to go chase one last title. Because if he's good at anything in life, he's good at a lot, by the way. And he's been incredible. He's going to be, in the argument always is, for the greatest of all time. Although, of course, people of my generation, we can't put anybody over Michael, right? It's impossible. But, Kevin, what did you want to say about KD and LeBron? Just this series?
Yeah. I mean, you got Houston, and this may be the last time that we ever see these two on the floor going against each other.
But you're not going to have Austin, and you're not going to have Luka. Right?
So it's going to be tough to pull off.
Unfortunately for the Lakers, I don't think they have the horses to get this done. This Rockets team has been maddening at times this year. They've been really good at times. Şengün is a heck of a player. KD can still get it done. Even with KD being such a great closer, this team has coughed up leads late. I've seen them do it with my own eyes a few times this season. Now, why does that happen to a team? Oh, I don't know. Maybe you need a point guard. Maybe you need a point guard when you start a season. Hello, Mavericks. What about you guys? Did y'all feel like starting the season without a point guard was a great idea? Oh, no? So the Rockets just didn't have, Shepherd has come on and has become a better player and all that kind of stuff. But, it's really hard to go too deep in the playoffs without somebody running your team. All right. I mean, before he had that sad, awful injury, it was a point guard that fueled the Pacers' run to the finals, right? I mean, it was what we're not always ready for as NBA fans is for somebody to become a superstar like in the postseason. I think probably to Kevin and Pacers fans, and if you looked at his numbers for the season, in a lot of ways, he'd already become. Hallie, the great Halliburton, had already become a quote-unquote superstar. But you don't really cement that status until you do it in the postseason. And all he did, he kind of had a Dame-like postseason where he kept, having the unreal moments. And then they had the comebacks in that one series. Was that the Eastern Conference Finals or was that before that? I just remember that one of the great NBA comebacks you'll ever see. Which series was that?
That would have been the Eastern Conference. That would have been Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks, where it went boom up in the air, and he did the choke, but it ended up being just a 2. Yeah, Nesmith I think hit 6 threes in the fourth quarter on that one. So it wasn't all just Hallie, but obviously he distributes it.
Oh, Nesmith was great, but Hallie did it at the end, and that was a team again that had more down low. Although that guy, they were kind of ready to see him go. Whatever happened to him? The guy who signed a big free agent deal elsewhere, the guy from Dallas, Miles Turner.
Did he have
what has become of him?
They offloaded him. He went and signed a big deal with the Bucks, who just fired their coach.
What kind of year did he have for the Bucks? Did you notice?
About the same as the player that they got to replace him, Jay Huff, who played all 82 games for the broken Pacers this year. All 82.
I don't think a Huff is a true center, though.
No, he's a stretch. But
okay, I was going to say
it was a 1-year deal. If they can, I think they re-signed him, and so you pair him with Zubac next year. It's going to be pretty killer, because some of the difficulty they ran up to against with the Knicks and OKC was that too big lineup that they just weren't ready for last year.
Did Huff play at Virginia? Where did Huff come from? I was trying to think of where Jay Huff
I'm not sure.
played.
You might be right.
Yeah, I just think of him more as like a 3-point guy, but maybe he's become more than that. All right.
Speaking of bigs and MVP, why not this guy? He plays on Sunday.
Yeah, Wemby. Here's the deal. The league the voters will have to decide, because once he gets it, and he's played in enough games and all that, I guess so. Once he gets it, he could literally win it 3 or 4 straight times. But the voters almost have to decide like when you get to start this. And hey, is Avdija a good player? I keep hearing, I see him put up big numbers. I just haven't watched him enough to know. The play-in game again, you got Warriors Suns. So these will be fun to watch. Just a good Friday night thing. The play-in stuff's kind of goofy, but kind of fun. And this is, in a sense, you could, Steph and Draymond. There's always the thought of like, is this the last time? Is this are they going to move her? Are they going to split them up? You heard what Kerr said the other day. I mean, Kerr felt like that win was almost like being in the finals or winning another title. Like he was really pumped up about that. So good for him. Good for him. That's fine. Now, then we get Saturday. Let me pick some of these series for you real quick. Saturday, we get Raptors Cavs. Cavs are going to win this thing 4-1. I like the Raptors. They got Jacoby Walter. He's actually starting for them, the old Baylor player. There's things about the team I like, and it's kind of shocking that they're the 5 seed. It says a little bit about the East, but it's also, they're an interesting team. Cavs could sweep, probably win that one 4-1. Late Saturday afternoon, T-Wolves and Nuggets get going. I mean, this is a knockdown, drag out. I think it'll be kind of fun, but this, in my mind, is a 4-2. This is a 4-2 Nuggets. Nuggets take this thing. Okay. So far, I'm going with the home and the better seed. Knicks Hawks. I love this first round because you just get a million games. You get a million games every day. You get so much basketball. Hawks interest me the way they've played recently. Their coach is one of my favorites. He used to be at Utah. I love the guy. Go ahead and give me the Knicks, though, in this series. Knicks get the home court. They take care of business. I think the Knicks win this series 4-2. Rockets Lakers. This is the first one where the so-called the higher seed or lower seed Rockets do get this done, and I think they get it done 4-1. Again, it's so sad that Luka and Reeves can't go because we would have a monster series on our hands. I do not trust these Rockets, but I do trust them to get the deal done. Lakers win 1 game. Sunday, we get Sixers Celtics. This is fun because Maxey, we get VJ Edgecombe. Sixers are like a way more talented than the normal 7 seed. All right? Enough to make it interesting, but in the end, Celtics win this series 4-1. We're waiting to see who the Thunder go up against. We know the Thunder will win that series. We're waiting to see who the Pistons go up against. The Pistons are likely to win that series. Spurs, Trailblazers. Don't we have a big Trailblazers guy in our midst? He's got a Trailblazers. He's got a Trailblazers podcast.
Corey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
This
is the
podcast.
the Frenchman versus the Israeli right here.
Give me the Frenchman all day. Can Portland pull 1 win off at home? Yes. 4-1 Spurs in this one. All right. So there is NBA playoffs this weekend. Draft coming up. Got great baseball. I'll be at Rangers on Tuesday. I hope it's a night game. Surely it is. Please be a night game. Do not complicate my life in the show. What day is that on, Kevin? What's Tuesday? April what? What does that fall on? 21st? It does, doesn't it? Okay. It'll be the 21st. Okay, this is very, very important to our audience, I know, because they're all kind of like, what will Mosley do on the 21st? I don't know. I can't get to that one. Okay, never mind. Thank you, Kev. Good work. Good solid day of broadcasting. It'll be draft week when we meet again Monday. And remember, draft show is happening with Mosley and Souza at the Argyle Open. That's in Northlake. That's 6 to 8 on, and that's a golf place. You hit golf balls, huge screens for the draft. NBA will be going on. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is that night. This is Thursday night in Northlake at the Argyle Open. Come see us. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at 1 o'clock.
Central National Bank, this is Nikki. How may I help you?
Yes, can you please transfer me to the loan department?
You want to transfer?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, you can't transfer right now.
What?
Have a good day. Yes, how may I help you?
Hi, I would like to transfer money from my C&B account to another bank.
Absolutely not. No. Have a great day.
Wait, oh.
I'm on your website and I'm trying to find the link for your payment portal.
The portal is currently unavailable. Have a great day.
We've received a few complaints.
Correct. We no longer allow any outgoing transfers, only incoming.
But the good news is, no money is leaving the bank. Like, none.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.